Thanks. The idea of your home catching fire is undoubtedly terrifying for anyone. Even worse, losing everything because of a broken fire hydrant.
Tonight, Fox 4 problem solver Jonathan Katz investigates the state of fire hydrants in Kansas City. Will they work for you when you need them?
The quiet remains of a home as black and stark as the moon. A disaster for Stephanie Thomas and her boyfriend. April the 11th, 2025, around 10 at night, student and aspiring artist Stephanie was outside.
I was right here on the front porch, hanging up some of my artwork that I had just done to dry.
While inside, her boyfriend Chris.
Me and my friends, we were all in the kitchen having a good time. We just got done eating.
When suddenly,
next thing I know, I spin around in my chair to look up something on the laptop, and there's smoke pouring out of the return vent.
Their home of 2 years had caught fire.
I don't understand how there was so much smoke so fast, but I tried to run back in to get the fire extinguisher, the other fire extinguisher we had in here under the sink, but I couldn't even make it into the kitchen.
Within minutes, the Kansas City Fire Department arrived and went to work until
the next thing I know, they say they're out of water.
And they're outside on the back.
The water stops flowing right here because they're spraying, right? So it's going downhill and it stops, and I look up and they're like, we're out of water. And I'm like, what?
It is pretty hard to fight a fire without water. Firefighters often bring it in the trucks they take to a scene, but the water in there can only last for so long. It's why your local fire hydrant or your closest one is usually the best solution if that hydrant works.
For example, the closest hydrant to Stephanie and Chris's home was here, more than 500 feet away. But take a look, lying on its side and clearly out of order. Next, crews tried a second hydrant that failed too. As minute after minute passed, the fire grew. Finally, the crew connected to a hydrant here, 1,000 feet away at 38th and Wayne. By then, it was too late to save the home.
We were so close to reaching everything that we wanted to do in life.
Chris says they did get an apology from a firefighter.
And if the fire hydrant had been working, we could have saved all your stuff. We would have had the time to save your stuff.
But guess what? When the fire department filed its report, not a single mention of fire hydrants, much less broken fire hydrants. Just Pumper 6 entered the building through the basement door, located the fire in the basement of the residence, and successfully extinguished it. And a month after the fire,
why is this not fixed?
We found that first hydrant still broken.
Are you surprised it hasn't been fixed?
Yes.
It's not the first time something like this has happened. A long broken hydrant hindered firefighters at 42nd and Jackson last year. A reported but unrepaired fire hydrant delayed fighting this Northland fire in 2022. And on and on.
It's not something that we encounter on a daily basis.
Fire Department Battalion Chief Michael Hopkins makes a loose estimate that of about 26,000 fire hydrants in the city, approximately 99% of them actually work. So far, though, the city hasn't provided Fox 4 the data needed to back that claim up.
I would say for that particular incident, it was obviously an issue. In the large scale of things, the day-to-day operations and the amount of fires and calls that we run, it's a smaller problem.
When the fire department notices hydrants aren't working, they report it. Like the fire that April near 37th and North Lydia.
And the water department was notified, and they actually responded to the scene and arrived on scene at 12:15 a.m.
This email shows that the city knew about the broken hydrant as early as December of 2024, but marked it as a low priority. It wasn't until May, after the fire, and after our interviews with Chris and Stephanie, that KC Water fixed that hydrant.
The hydrant was scheduled to be replaced. It created a greater sense of urgency. Now, one of the things I will add, the hydrant right adjacent to that resident was inoperable, but there was an adjacent hydrant in the area vicinity that was operational and was able to be used to support the fire activity that took place. And so it's not that there was, virtually none.
As for Chris and Stephanie, they're living with friends right now.
We basically had the clothes on our back that night.
Yeah.
But Thomas wants the city to fix the larger situation.
Do what
Not
you're
even
supposed
that.
to do before somebody else gets hurt.
Man.
because we were lucky enough to make all of us made it out of here alive. Granted, we don't have anything, but that might not happen to the next people.
Working for you, in mid-March, Fox 4 asked for inspection reports from the city's fire and water departments. We wanted to check for ourselves the state of our fire hydrants. What followed was delay after delay and confusion by the city. Tuesday, and more than 2 months later, they finally sent us some data, but it's not complete. We'll keep digging and let you know what we find. We can tell you that last August, Missouri lawmakers changed the requirements for checking fire hydrants and water pressure. Now, instead of yearly inspections, the time frame is much more ambiguous. Jonathan Katz, Fox 4 Problem Solvers.